After winning the league, Ash has found his true goal, becoming a singer. Yo, what's up everyone? Draymond1 here. We're back with another Pokémon 2019 anime review. Today we're covering episode 15. And I gotta say, this was a pretty nice Go episode. I'm glad that Go's been getting some nice development lately. In the last episode, he got some great development. He caught some good Pokemon. And, he was doing a bit better at battling. This episode is another great Go episode. Hopefully next week's episode won't be a Go episode, and it's actually an Ash episode, though, and that's that Gengar episode. But yes, we also have one more Go episode after that, being Scorbunny's evolution, is what it seems. But let's go ahead and get into the summary and my thoughts on this episode. So Ash and Go have to head home because there's some issues going on at Sakuragi Labs. And my prediction was that, Gengar was actually in the labs, causing some trouble. And this is why, Ash and Go had to go home and the lab had to shut down. But it turns out it's due to snow in Kanto, which doesn't really happen too often. So yeah, we're finally going to see our boy Ash go back to Pallet Town and see his old Pokemon, right? Right? That was going to be the case, but Go ends up dropping a package that he was going to give to his parents, and Ash ends up deciding to go ahead and bring it to him. In this episode, we get to meet Go's grandmother and both of his parents, and get a bit of backstory about Go. His parents are busy with work a lot, and unfortunately, they can't spend too much time with him, but, they're both feeling bad, but it seems like Go is just okay. He was on his computer at a young age doing his research about Mew. He didn't really seem to be too bothered by this, but his parents are just hoping, that their child will grow up and make friends and everything like that. They end up having to tell Go once again that, they're going to be late to be home because they had some more work to take care of. And because of this, Go actually ends up deciding to bring his parents some food and deliver their gifts to them, since he knows the location that they're going to. Then, while this is happening, they run into good old Cubone, and Cubone's getting picked on by Mankeys. And to be honest, I thought that Go's actually going to end up just throwing the Pokeballs at these Mankeys, but that wasn't the case. The Mankeys end up fighting. Scorbunny actually gets some good hits in, which is good because, if it's evolving soon, it needs some great battling experience, which it is getting in this episode. And hopefully we'll get in the next episode, learning a fire-type move and finally doing some damage to that Gengar. But the Mankeys end up, running away with Cubone's bone. And Go ends up calling 5 of his flying-type Pokemon, which I really do love about this episode, that we're getting to see Go's Pokemon get developed, get some personality, just being used throughout this episode. Like, I really do like this a lot. One of the issues I had with Go in the beginning of the series is that I thought he was just going to catch all these Pokemon and just leave them at the lab, that we weren't going to see their personalities and, that we weren't going to see them in action, which is the case for some Pokemon, unfortunately. Like, I doubt we'll see his Caterpies, Weedle, his Kakuna, and his Metapod, but for, the finally evolved Pokemon, and Taylor and stuff, it does seem like he is going to use a few of them, which is good. Another thing that really caught my attention in this episode was the use of the Nana Berry. Now, I know a lot of people have an issue with how easily Go's catching Pokemon, like the Darmanitan, for crying out loud. And so, since Go is based off of Pokemon Go and Let's Go, I would assume that they would introduce the Raspberry, Nana Berry, and the Pineapple Berry from Go and Let's Go into this game, well, not into this game, into the anime. For when Go starts having a hard time trying to catch these Pokemon, maybe he used those berries, like how we do in the games, to make catching them a bit more easier. And we actually kind of see that, but it's not used to capture, but more or less it's to use as to lure these Pokemon in. Which they end up defeating these Mankeys and getting them to help look for Cubone's bone. We see time passes by, and a surprising return happens. The legend himself, Guzzlord, returns in the body of a Pharaoh. Oh man, y'all, this Pharaoh had freaking the same Guzzlord scream from the Guzzlord in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and I was so happy hearing this. I was like, yes, we got Zapdos, we got Guzzlord, and now we've got Pharaoh, and I'm just happy, since Pharaoh can appear a lot in this series, we'll probably be hearing this voice a lot more. But yeah, the Pharaoh basically ends up directing everyone to the river. And I gotta say, this scene was hilarious. We hear that beautiful Guzzlord voice trying to explain to Ash and Go what happened to the bone. And after this long, hard explanation, Ash is like, I don't get what the heck this thing is trying to tell us, but that pond looks suspicious. And when things couldn't get any better, the legendary Dugong itself returns. I gotta say, I freaking love this Dugong from episode 10. Like, the whole, personality that this thing had. It's probably my favorite, other than Scorbunny and Scyther, that Pokemon that Go has. So I'm really glad to see that Dugong returns as well. But it was only used for a short moment, basically to, find the bone in the river and return it to Cubone. Go's parents had ended up seeing Go riding on Dragonite and ended up following them to see what was going on. And this is where they were like, just so happy for Go to see that he's caught so many new Pokemon and made a great friend in Ash. And it's so funny because they're like, oh yeah, I heard Ash has been relying on you. Like, Go's been relying on you a lot, Ash. And, Ash is just like, oh really, Go? Which is pretty funny compared to, in second episode when Dilly was like, please take care of my son. And Go's like, leave it to me. And Ash was like, oh, come on. So it's funny to see how things, what goes around comes back around. And as Go is introducing his Pokemon to his family, which he didn't even introduce Dugong, man. Dugong's right there in the lake. You could have introduced Dugong. Cubone actually ends up, jumping as well, saying that it's one of Go's Pokemon. So Go ends up catching Cubone. And this scene actually got me pretty interested because in the original series, when Ash caught Krabby, the Pokeball kind of shrunk down and he couldn't open it up. And this thing, you would think that might just been a thing for the original series, but even in the black and white anime, when Ash caught Palpito, the same thing happened. So it's a thing of the anime. It's a thing that's been going on for a while. But for some reason in today's episode, that logic doesn't exist anymore. Like, I've noticed that this series has changed a bit of things. For one, in the original series, like the Kanto series through the Alola series, you could use a Pokeball and the Pokemon breaks out, you can reuse that Pokeball. But in this series, it seems like you can't reuse the Pokeballs. And now apparently you can call out more than 6 Pokemon because Go calls out his Cubone. So yeah, they have made a few changes to, some of the anime logic, but I really didn't mind it. Seeing that, this wasn't really like for a battle or anything like that. So it wasn't too bad in my opinion. But Go ends up giving his parents the gift, and it is a nice new pair of gloves due to the cold weather. And the episode basically ends off with Ash singing Aim to be a Pokemon Master and type wow. Like, I was like, oh shoot. Because I did not know Ash had these amazing talents. But sadly, we don't hear what Ash is singing. It would be cool if he was singing, one of the openings that Rika Matsumoto sang in the anime. Freaking Aim to be a Pokemon Master, Type Wild, Ikuze, Alola, so many great songs. And people actually been making videos of Ash singing these songs, so please go on Twitter and check them out. They are amazing. But I gotta say, this was a pretty good development for Go. We get to see a little bit of his past, and he actually catches a Pokemon like the traditional way, like, the way Ash does it. So it does show that Ash is rubbing off on Go, which is really good because that's one thing I was hoping for from this series, that Ash now being a champion, he can use his knowledge to help and, train up Go, which I'm really glad that that's happened in this episode. And I also do love the world building that they are doing in this series. Kind of like Sun and Moon, because in Sun and Moon, we got to see all the companions, their family, and just kind of grow on, their characters as a whole. Seeing that we got to see Sakuragi and Karaharu's family, and now we're getting to see Go's family. I'm really liking that they're doing the similar thing here in this series, building these characters, which is always a great thing. And the difference here, though, is that, Ash had Kukui and Burnett. But, since Ash already had Kukui and Burnett, I don't see them, maybe if he goes back to Alola, then they can do a bit of family building amongst, Ash, Kukui, and Burnett there. But, yeah, I really don't see them trying to do that again with a whole new family. Like, Ash and Go, I guess you could say, are brothers, technically. So, yeah, that would be interesting. Oh, and also, it was funny to mention that Go's grandmother ended up winning a karaoke trophy. And I gotta say, I like how she got Scorbunny's name wrong and just things like that. Like, that was just some nice moments that we had in this episode. But yeah, this episode was kind of a lot more chill, comedy-based, and great character development for Go. So, if you want to see some nice characterization, world building, I recommend this episode to you. But if you're more into like the action side of things, then this probably isn't a good episode for you. Personally, I really enjoyed it, and I gotta say I can't wait to see more of Go and his Cubone and him using his other Pokemon in the series as well. But the next episode is the big one. Will Ash catch Gengar? We'll have to wait and see. In the comments down below, let me know what y'all thought of this episode. I would love to hear. Thank you all for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Trayman1. Peace out.